Today, I'm gonna share some actionable tips that you'll be able to apply to your life insurance and or final expense sales that should help you increase sales and help more people, which in turn will help you to make more money like a boss. And please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're putting out new life insurance content and final expense sales training videos like all the time. As a 15-year career agent, I've had a lot of success not only selling life insurance at a very high level, but training other agents to be successful. So yes, I've seen a lot of serious wins, and unfortunately, I've seen some pretty big losses with agents too. And with that being said, I truly believe that your mindset, the way that you perceive your insurance business, is always a good place to start. Like, it's really where you gotta start, right? So tip number one, a good question you need to ask yourself is, am I clear and focused on the steps that I'm currently taking for my success, or am I kind of all over the place? So first off, if you're not decisive and following the steps that you've laid out, or maybe that have been laid out for you, you need to pull it together. You gotta get yourself straight. Guys, this is super important. With final expense and life insurance sales, our industry, this is one of those businesses where, I mean, at the end of the day, once you've been working in it for a few years, how can I say this without sounding nasty? If you're not earning at least six figures, that's kind of like walking into a restaurant, having the host or hostess seat you, and then having the waiter serve you, and then you not eating, and ended up starving to death right there. Trust me, guys, the industry is big money, and the only way for you not to have success after being in it for a few years is that you're either not doing something right or you're just working with the wrong people. And if you'd like a copy of the Objections Super File, just stick around to the end of the video. I'm gonna show you how to get this so that you're 100% ready to overcome objections in different life insurance and or final expense sales scenarios. Tip number two, getting back to the more actionable steps that you should be taking, is doing the simple and common basics. We're talking working leads daily, doing, the activity that it takes for success, either door knocking them or calling to set appointments first and then door knocking leads in between your appointments. If you're doing face-to-face sales, here is the hot tip of the day. A lead is never dead until you've made a presentation to that person. As far as telesales agents are concerned, doing the dials, making the calls, assuming that you're working with like a regular, company with regular leads and you've got a lot of them, you're probably gonna need to be making, and don't take this the wrong way, but it's just how it is, like $200 to maybe over $300 per day just to make a sale per day. And that's not how we roll at my agency, but $200 to $300 per day is actually industry standards. One of the things that the most consistent agents do is they won't leave the field, if you're a face-to-face agent, until they've made their daily sales quota. And as far as like telesales agents, don't stop making dials until you made your daily dials quota, right? I mean, that makes sense. Another actionable thing that you can do is tip number three. Get off the wheel. What I mean by the wheel, well, is this. I see agents doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results, and they're kind of behaving like a hamster on a wheel. They will typically try to buy some leads, then they won't get the results that they hoped for, and then they'll either, repeat and do it again, or they'll try going to a different agency, for one reason or another. Sometimes they think maybe the training will be better over there, or the leads are gonna be better, and it's not. And they're back on the wheel, doing it again and again. And years later, they're right where they started, or in many cases worse. And another thing that you might want to do if you're out selling and spreading your business around, tip number four, is to concentrate on writing 3 main carrier products and try not to go outside of this. Now, first off, this is gonna help you to minimize and potentially save you from getting into debt with carriers, which is super common. And if you're new and trying to write a bunch of carriers, you're basically gonna have more issues. So don't spread yourself thin, stick with the main guys, the main carriers, the main products, and yes, you can thank me later. Tip number 5, if you're having a hard time being able to do all of this, then maybe me find an agency with a system that actually makes sense and works. For example, our agency's small. We only work with serious, hardcore agents who I think can actually be successful. And because of this mentality, I want to say, of not taking on, any agent who can fog a mirror, we've got a very high success rate. And as a team, we write an extremely large amount of business on an average per agent. We're making sure that our agents, one, have the necessary money to invest into getting their appointments so that their calendar is booked up each day with like 20 to 30 of these appointments. Two, we make sure that each agent gets one-on-one training to make sure they know how to use the dialer/CRM and understands the basics of final expense sales. Basically knows how to sell. And three, we have what I call the 3-to-3 zone system. I just made that up. Basically what that means is each agent does the contracting and is expected to be on the phone making presentations within 3 weeks. And once they start, we ask them to commit to no less than 3 weeks of taking new appointments while they're cutting through the learning curve and turning their insurance license, well, into a money printing machine. And guys, I really think that we are seeing the success over here that we're seeing because if you don't have a few $1,000s to invest and you can't make a commitment to at least 3 full-time weeks of making several daily presentations and actually working your butt off, you're most likely going to fail. And that is the last thing that I'm going to condone. We know it takes time. We know it takes money to be successful at life insurance sales. And if you don't have both, you're just going round and round, like the hamster on the wheel. And it's as if your hand is out while you're trying to get others to hop on the wheel with you. And the last thing that I'm gonna do is hop on that wheel. If you'd like a copy of the Overcoming Objections super file that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. For more information on working with us, having access to that awesome sales system with all the appointments, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, guys, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there and do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.